We begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and bearing witness that none has the right to be worshipped or unconditionally obeyed except for Him. We bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is His final messenger. We ask Allah to send His peace and blessings upon him, the prophets and messengers that came before him, his family and companions that served alongside him, and those that follow in his blessed path until the day of judgment. And we ask Allah to make us amongst them. Allahumma ameen. Dear brothers and sisters, there is nothing more beautiful than the succession of Islam, the succession of belief from parent to child, and then from parent to child, and from parent to child. And in many ways, we are looking around at these communities being developed. You know, subhanAllah, just on my way in here, noticing all of the masajid that have been built and seeing so many people. We are the fruits of that succession from the time of the Prophet ﷺ and the companions. That at some point, even if you are the first person to convert to Islam in your particular bloodline, at some point there is a da'iyah, there is a caller to Islam that came from a caller to Islam. There is a convert, there's a point where it dropped off and then it picked back up. But there's nothing more beautiful than when you can trace that line and you can see the succession of belief and faith. And what I mean by that is that in many ways, when you see worldly success, when you see that the children have followed the parents' footsteps and then their children have followed, and you start to have a heritage that represents some sort of value and the upliftment of something that is great. And when you look in the Quran, you find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks to that from the perspective of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Of the du'as of Ibrahim alayhi salam were the multiple du'as that he made for his offspring. The multiple du'as that he made for the succession of Islam within his own loins and the succession of Islam on this earth and the purity of every generation to come from that which contradicts the monotheism that he upheld. You see it in almost every single one of his du'as, his insistence that this be something that goes on beyond him. And you find that Ibrahim alayhi salam is calling his children to him at the time of his death, and what a long life and a difficult life, an eventful life he lived. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَوَصَّى بِهَا إِبْرَاهِيمُ بَنِيهِ وَيَعْقُوبُ. Ibrahim alayhi salam and his son Yaqub call their children to them and they give them a wasiyah. What is that wasiyah? What is